Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Arrange Wave. Today we're going to talk about the process of getting a song, getting tracks for a song, and configuring it and bringing it into Ableton that makes it ready to hit play on a Sunday and have a great running, looking, and sounding Ableton session. This is more for like the house of worship kind of context, so we're going to be utilizing multitracks.com for this to get our tracks, and yeah, we're stoked to bring you through it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to multitracks.com to find the song that we're going to resource for ourselves. So I'm signed into my account on Multitracks, and the song that we're gonna be doing in a couple weeks is called Whole Heart. So I'm gonna search that up. And you can see I have it, but I just need to get the track. So you can click on it, and then this download. We use the credit functionality with Multitracks at our church, but it would either say that or $35 or whatever to buy the song. So I'm gonna add to cart. And then I'm going to check out. So great. So now I have this song. One thing that we always recommend people to do is to use the internal transposing for different keys in Ableton rather than using Multitracks. So if you see here, they have all these different keys. We're going to just download the original, and we'll talk about why we do that with transposing in Ableton. So I'm going to request the original, download it. Okay, cool. We have the song downloaded, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into Ableton. So the awesome thing with Multitracks is they, when you buy a song from them, they kind of send you an Ableton project that they've kind of made for the song. So we're actually going to utilize that to start, and then we're going to edit it for our sake. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the song that you just bought. This is in my downloads. You're going to open it up, expand it, and then in this folder you can see this ALS file. We're going to double click that. It's going to ask some questions. You're just going to say yes and then okay, and boom, here we go. This is what it looks like when you buy a song from Multitracks, and this is the Ableton session they send you. So you can kind of see they have a system there. They have locators here for all their sections. You can see like as it's loading, like this is, you see this will be the cue, and then this locator is on the downbeat of each section, which is cool, but we're going to kind of adapt that and change it a little bit. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete all these locators because it kind of is a lot to look at. So I'm just going to click it and then hold backspace and delete them all. Great. Next thing that I'm going to do is Multitracks utilizes tempo automation with tempo nodes. We prefer to use the process of using a tempo leader track for our tempo. What we also prefer to do is use a MIDI click utilizing the drum rack rather than audio, which is their click. So what I'm actually going to do is turn this click track that they've sent into my tempo track. So you can see the session right here is set to 81. This is the tempo of the song. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to double click this click track, and I'm going to gain it all the way down. This means that no audio is going to be passing through. Next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to hit warp, and I'm going to hit this follow button. I'm going to turn it to lead. This now means that this track is the leader track for all the tracks at 81 beats per minute. It's setting this grid to 81 beats per minute. We prefer this because it's a little easier to splice and dice the tempo track rather than moving up and down the tempo nodes, especially when you have a big session that you're dealing with.
So you're saying everything that's basically below,
yes,
inside the...
Yep, all this grid now is set to 81 beats per minute. And you can kind of see, like, if I click, well, it's not doing it now, but like if I click in here, up here, it's at 81 beats per minute. So that's a good way you can check to make sure
you're bringing multiple songs together.
Yes, yep. So now that this is the tempo track, I'm going to relabel that. So I'm going to first start on this track header over here. Command R is shortcut to rename. I'm going to rename it tempo. And then I'm going to click the track itself and Command R, and I'm going to label it tempo 81 beats per minute. Sometimes it's nice just to have a visual cue for when you're music directing or whatever. You need to tell the guitar player what tempo it's in. You can just look over and see 81 beats per minute. So now I'm going to close that track. And so now you might ask, well, now we don't have a click. So this is what I'll do for that. I'm going to close this up a little bit. I'm going to scroll down, and at the bottom of all these track headers, I'm going to 2-finger click, and I'm going to hit Insert MIDI Track. There's also a shortcut for that. I find the 2-finger click is quicker. Now I'm going to relabel this click. Okay, I'm going to make this white. We're strong on our color coordination at Arrange Wave here. I'm going to close it up, and I'm going to pull it up to in between the tempo and the guide. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tab over to Session View. Now we're going to make our click track. So what a MIDI click is basically a measure of MIDI notes that are firing a click sound that's looped the length of your song. So to do that, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go over to drums in the collections part, the folder, and drag drum rack over onto our click track. Now you can see this opened up this thing where we can drop samples basically onto these notes. I've sampled the multi-tracks click because it has both the accent and then the beat 1 accent and then the 3 beats after that of click. So click 1 for me is the accent, so I'm going to click and drag that onto C1, and then click 2 is the rest of the click, and I'm going to drag that onto C#1. Okay, great. So now if I hit play, you can hear click 1 is the accent, click 2 is the less accented part. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a clip in our click track section here by double clicking right at this section. Now that's created an empty MIDI clip that I can now pencil in my click track in at this bottom section. So to get to the pencil tool, a quick shortcut is just to hit B.
I forgot you're a pencil guy.
I'm a pencil guy. I'm a Ticonderoga. And cool, now we're going to draw in our click. So now since this song's at 81 beats per minute, I'm going to be drawing in an 1/8 note click. Sometimes when songs are faster, you can get away with a 1/4 note click, but I want this to be, and this song's in 6/8, I want it to be a beat on each, or a click on each beat of the measure. So I'm going to start with my click 1, which is my accented, and then I'm going to go each and every 1/8 note after that with click 2. So now this should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If we hit play.
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You can hear there that the click is looping and it's accented in 6/8. Now we're going to get this little clip over into arrangement view. We click and we drag. So now we're holding this clip, and at the same time we hold tab. Now this has just brought us over to arrangement view, but you can see I still have the clip in my selected. So now I'm going to drag it to the beginning of the session, drop it in, turn this session view thing off, and now we have this one measure of this click pulled in, and it's looped, so now we can pull it as long as we want, which we go the length of the song. And I typically like to have the click stop right when the end cue hits, so that way when the band kind of slows down and trash cans, there's not click kind of going in their ears. So let's just find the end cue.
Ending.
I'll pull it there, and that's great. So now we have a click, so let's just hear how that sounds.
1, 2, intro, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Boom, beautiful click. That's right in time with the song. Next thing that we're going to do is we are going to make our song markers utilizing our cue track. So we like to, instead of using locators at each section of the song, we like to splice up our cue track and color coordinate it and label section by section so that it's easy to navigate playing live, and you can just click the cue track and fire into a section of a song. It's worked really well for us. So the way that we do that, I'm going to relabel this. We like to call ours cue, not guide. And then I'm going to make this white as well. And then we're just going to go section by section, not necessarily cue by cue, but just song sections. Sometimes like, we're not going to cut a build or a vamp or something like that. More so intro, verse, chorus, bridge, instrumental stuff, big sections like that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find, this is clearly the intro.
1, 2.
So we're going to go to the next cue, which is hopefully the verse.
Intro.
That's another intro. So we're going to splice that, Command E, and we're going to relabel this first one intro. And we're going to label this one intro. Cool. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed that quick movements. So now we picked a long song. I apologize. So now you can see here we have all of our song sections split out. We like to cut on the cue rather than cutting on the downbeat of the section like how those locators were, for one specific reason. Say you're in a rehearsal or even live and you want to go back, or hey, let's just take it from verse 2 or whatever. The music director or the worship leader, whoever, the band leader that's running the Ableton session, can then go and find that part, and they have confidence if they just hit verse, click on it, it's going to play right at that verse cue. So your band can know when he hits play, it's going to say verse right away, 6 beats in this instance, and then the band's in.
Verse 3.
Rather than having to scrub behind or whatever. So now we're going to speed up again. The only thing that we're going to do now is color coordinate this cue track just to make it a little more easy to navigate quickly.
Clean.
Okay, now we have our cue track completely spliced and color coordinated. You can see we like to say, taste the rainbow. This is just a way that it's obnoxious looking, but the nice part is we're the only ones that have to look at it, and it's very clear as to what section you're going into, what section that you want to click on, all those things. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to focus on the tracks. So we like to group our tracks, and then in a master session for the weekend, we like to staircase our songs down in groups rather than having them all live in the same tracks. So the way you can do that is, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shift click all these track headers, and I'm going to open them up. This is, the only reason for this is so that when I go to open my group, the tracks are going to expand opened rather than open my group and then they just look like that, which doesn't help me with anything. So it's just one little quick step. Do that, and then now I'm going to shift click all these, and I'm going to group tracks or Command G. There you go. Now I'm going to relabel this Whole Heart, which I believe this song is in E. Let's double check that. Multi-tracks, yes, key of E.
Do you throw BPM in there or just do that?
I don't.
You got it in the tempo.
Yeah, because I have it in the tempo.
Done.
So I like to label my group, though, with the original key. And even if I go to transpose the tracks, I still want it to know what these tracks originally are. On the off chance we need to change a key in a rehearsal or change something, I want to know where these tracks originally are so that I'm making the right pitch shift adjustments. So
that if you're doing it in D and it's at -2,
yep,
you're not wondering -2 from where.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. So yeah, so that'll always just be a little visual cue of the original key. Now what we're going to do is we are going to rearrange. This is a little bit of an extra step, but it saves on time and your front of house person will like you. We're going to rearrange our tracks into what we kind of feel like our outputting system you just makes sense down. So basically what we kind of do is kind of all of the like synthy keys stuff first, and then drums second, and then vocals, then anything that's like real, like strings or pianos or acoustics, stuff that maybe should probably be playing live on stage, but if you need it, but it's different from the synthy effecty kind of stuff. So then that, electric guitars, and then bass and synth bass. So we're going to rearrange our tracks like that, and we're going to color coordinate them first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my drum stuff, and I'm just going to color coordinate that yellow. So drums and perk for sure. And then we're going to scroll down and find, doesn't look like any other drum
Effects
stuff.
is right under there if you wanted to do that.
Okay, yeah. I actually might put that in.
Throw it in synth.
I think these are, yeah, synthy kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Okay, great. So now effects, I'll throw in the kind of that synthy thing, and we're going to do aqua for that. Bass and synth bass, we like to use purple. AG, that's real. We're going to do orange. EGs, we're going to do all these, and I like to call this Crayola green. You know, it's not neon, toxic sludge, it's just Crayola. Piano, organ, and glockenspiel, we're going to do orange, similar with the acoustic for the real kind of thing. And then these are all the vocals: soprano, tenor, tenor 2, choir. We're going to make hot pink. Okay, now what we're going to do is reorder these tracks. I'm going to pull all these blue ones up to the top, which is just that. Drums are next. That's great. Next would be the real stuff, so the orange. Click and drag. Next would be, oh, I'm sorry. Next would be vocals before orange. Like that. And then bass after EGs. And there you go. Now this is kind of our way of separating it, how we like to look at it, top to bottom. To get your tracks over here to be the same colors as these, you can shift click these track headers, 2-finger click, and then assign track color to clips right underneath all the colors. Is a quick shortcut to get all these tracks into the colors that you've assigned. Then close your group. Actually, I will say this. The first thing you want to do, double click your tracks, all of them, and you're going to turn warp on. It's fine if it's just on, even if you're not transposing, but you want to make sure you're set at least to complex to start. And yeah, close your group, leave it open, whatever you want to do.
Can you tell us why we want to do turn warp on?
Yeah, warp is the function that you're going to need on for transposing. So if I try to transpose these tracks without warp on, transpose is right here. Say the worship leader needs it down a whole step. Okay, if I do this, now look at what these tracks, it just changed the length of the tracks, because without warping is Ableton's way of keeping the tracks timing the same no matter what pitch you're at. Without it, lowering the pitch will slow the tracks down. Speeding up the pitch will speed the tracks up, just like on a tape head back in the day. But warping, this is what Ableton does to keep it in time, but you can change. So now, if I Command Z that,
and it can it saves problems when you're passing it out to multiple campuses, worship leaders, whatever, just to always have warp on, so that
you're safe.
Like if you're working with somebody who's not as versed in Ableton, and they go to transpose, and then all of a sudden everything's out of whack.
Exactly. That's the first place
we
to
just
look.
do it right away.
Yep.
Nobody has to worry about
Nobody has to worry about it. Yep. So warp, now if I try to transpose down or up, you can see the tracks are staying exactly in place where they're supposed to be. Complex is the function that you at least want to start on when you're pitching. This is beats will get real choppy when you start to, because it's kind of grabbing transients in a weird way. And honestly, I don't even know what tones, texture, and repitch do. Complex is where you want to start. I recommend sometimes using Complex Pro if you're pitching up like 5 semitones. And then because what it adds is, or even for some tracks doing Complex Pro, because it adds a formants and envelope function, so where you can kind of work out a little bit of the digital artifacting that can come with pitching something up really high. It doesn't work great pitching down low. Only maybe use it when you're above 3 semitones pitching up. See if it maybe sounds a little less chipmunky, and you can kind of finagle it there. Yeah, that's kind of all she wrote. This is kind of our way that we kind of build our sessions. And now what we've basically created is what we like to call a mini session. So you can save this song now as an Ableton project, and now the next time you're building a session and you have this song, you can just drag and drop this ALS file into your session that you're building, and it'll save all that you've just done for this. So let me just show you that real quick. I'll save live set as. I'm going to go to my my hard drive that I've plugged into my computer right now. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm I call it Whole Heart. And the way that we like to label our mini sessions is the song title, parentheses, the key, the original key, which is E, and then the tempo of the song, which is 81. There we go. And then the number one biggest, most important thing is collect all and save after you've saved it to a destination. Great. So now I'm going to open a new live set. Tab over, delete all this stuff, and I just want to show you what it looks like. So say song 1 is Whole Heart for next weekend, and I'm going to build the session for the weekend. I'm going to go to my external hard drive. I'm going to find Whole Heart. I'm going to open it up. Here's the Ableton session. You want to open that up and find the ALS file right here. Click and drag that, and as you can see, it just saved. We can delete this audio track, close the group. It saved everything that we did, all of our color coordination, all of our labeling, all of our cue track cutting, all of that. So we only have to do it once and then it's baked. Awesome. Anyways, hey, this is our first kind of stab at a little bit of a longer form video. Let us know if it's helpful, if you like it. It's our hope to keep resourcing and making this a community. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and go make some sessions.